What's up, Buttercups? Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the first ever conversation here on Commentators Curse. I'm joined by the infamous Greg. Greg's not here today. It's just me today, Carl Lawrence, on Commentators Curse, and I brought in our very special guest. I thought the first ever episode we do where we have a guest, I had to get you on. Leyton Fourie, hello and welcome to what is essentially going to be called Commentators Curse.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm super stoked for this.
Quite a drive from Alberton to Kyalami though, let's be fair.
Yeah, I mean, there was freaking traffic at Bedford, which is quite normal. So
Have you noticed how everybody in South Africa at the moment, the speed limit used to be 120, now it's 80 and a little bit more, that's it.
100%, and it gets worse on holidays, for sure. That speed limit goes further and further down the further you go into holiday season. It's so bad.
And they sit in the fast lane at like 60 k's an hour and you've got to like flash, nobody moves and they're busy throwing hands at you in the mirror.
It tests my patience big time. Big time. So,
but it's not what we came here to talk about. We didn't come here to talk about your driving experience
no speed
on the way.
limits.
No, we all stay below speed limits, okay? Anybody that's been in a car with me will tell you I'm lying, but it's the truth. I stay in speed limits. But the reason we brought you here is obviously you've had probably what has been along the lines of the Calvins, the Sheldons, and the Jordan Peppers in terms of your racing career. So I wanted to get you in here early because I can see you making those steps to make that racing driver's career a possibility. And I wanted to talk to you about that pathway. And it's important to me to get it from your mouth because there are so many young drivers in South Africa looking to make that pathway. Now, I don't want to throw you in the deep end and be like, okay, now you're a hero, now you're going to talk. But it's what I want to do, and I want to showcase that because it hasn't just been you that's made this motorsport journey possible. You've done it as a family enterprise from where I want to start with you in karting. So you obviously started in Bambinos, am I right?
yeah, correct, yeah. Back in 2012, I think it was.
I love how you say it like it's a long time ago. And I'm like, 2012, I was still racing. So 2012, jump into a Bambino.
Yeah,
Your dad was racing 125 GP at the time.
correct, yeah.
He was the 125 GP champion the year that you stepped in.
Yes, if my memory serves me well.
Yeah, so he was aboard the FK with Philip Swanepoel. So just talk me through, I know it's the initial years, but what do you remember out of a C50 Coma Top Kart Bambino in those years of racing?
Yeah, I mean, it was going to the track. I want to say there was obviously the benefit of spending time with my dad, and it was a shared passion. So that's what really drove me to enjoying it, and yeah, it was just a good thrill. I mean, back then you don't really have that knowledge of, okay, this is what I'm doing. There's no pressure at all. It's literally just putting on a helmet and typically racing with your mates, actually. So obviously I raced against, in cadets, my biggest sort of rival was Jared Waberski. I mean,
I was going to come to that, yeah.
We were through rivalries into Mini Rock, Mini Max, whatever the case may be, but we're also really good friends off track. So there was that sense of, this is just a race against your friend every weekend. And that came with its own enjoyments. Obviously its own fights as well when things didn't go well between each other on a race or whatever the case may be. But yeah, I mean, it was a shared passion between me and my dad, and that's really what drove me. Obviously that grew into a lot more, and it hasn't stopped. I mean, ever since now, you're getting into GT3, it's still a passion between me and my dad that we share. So yeah, it was a cool experience, obviously, growing up and having the privilege to even do that and having the opportunity to do it. So that was cool.
Well, that's the next thing is like, you talk about your dad a lot through that, but the one fundamental thing that I remember when you made the step up to Mini Rock, you joined NBO, Neil Basilio Racing at that time. Before you had just done a little stint with Formula K as they were starting out with Philip Swanepoel. Then you did the move to Neil Basilio Racing, I think just after that aboard the Cosmic. But the biggest thing I remember that was your mechanic, because your mechanic all the way through your mini career was your mom.
Yeah, that was that's always a story to tell, actually. So yeah, I mean, you're right. I went a little bit of Leroy helped us a little bit in Bambinos, and then I sort of had a stint with FK when they were trying to start out with because I mean they were primarily shifter karts, and then they started to bring in the Mini Rock, and I was one of their first Mini Rocks. FK, the Formula K kart was a tricky kart to drive for me personally, just driving style.
I think it was for anybody at that point.
Yeah,
it was still their new one. Yeah,
it was still very much new for them. I mean, even FK as a brand. So then we went to Top Kart for a bit, and then we went straight into Cosmic with Neil, and then we had a shortage of mechanics, and my mom brought an apron from like her pantry back at home, whipped it on one day and was like, teach me. And my mom's always like that. She's always give her a challenge and she'll take everything out of it to try learn. And she did. I mean, she cleaned carburetor, changed jetting, whatever the case may be. You know, she went through, I mean, you know how hard it is to change an axle on a kart. So she went through that, like the manhandling of actually changing an axle, changing engines, whatever the case may be. And I think that year we finished third in regionals, I think, which wasn't bad. Nationals was my first year in Mini Rock. I was still going up against the much older boys like Sebastian Boyd, Blade Rodemeyer, all of them. So, and even Stewie White and them. So it was, I mean, obviously a year that grew.
Yeah.
I grew into with Mini Rock and stuff like that. And like, it was incredible racing against those guys. So, but yeah, I mean, my mom did a great job. So it was a funny story to tell.
I mean, you took the step from there. You were the MBR. It's very much at that time a satellite team.
Yeah.
You know, I think MBR is still very much a standalone privateer team against the likes of the Extremes and the RKTs. You then made the move to RKT, being at the time and probably still is one of the best South African karting teams. I mean, Etienne Roos has a career second to none in terms of what he's done in European karting and around the world. Same as Bjorn Roos. So you were helped by some really good minds behind that, and that's kind of where you really started battling with Jared Oberski for a national title. I think you walked away with that national title in your second year, if I wasn't mistaken.
Yeah, so it was Minimax and
Minimax, yeah.
Yeah, so it was Minimax, and we had that first year that they ran Minimax. It was with Jaden Else. He still won the national, but I think they only ran in the last 4 rounds or something like that.
Yes, correct.
So it was sort of like this new project that they had going, that Minimax was now growing again. And then, we ran into the next year. And it was Akil, myself, Jared, trying to think who else was in it. There was maybe 2 other guys that were in for the championship in the start of the year. And that was, I would still say that was one of the most fun I had in a season in karting, just because it felt like there was no pressure, which is something that you start losing the further up you go in the ranks, because that pressure starts building, and you always like think to yourself, how did I never feel this when I was younger? And that was, I'll say, the last year that I felt no pressure in the championship. I just raced every weekend like I would. And I mean, Jared, they started, I think I had a very strong first stint in the year. I went led the championship, had a few points under my belt where I had to spare, and then we got to, I think it was PE, and we had about 3 rounds to go, and they started really catching up, like the pace they brought to the track. Like we had to really up our level, and PE was always a track that I struggled with, and I still remember. Most drivers do, yeah. I mean, especially just dead weight is the worst thing at that track to have on the rear axle. I still remember. So you're changing seats, softening seats, hardening seats, trying to find what's happening, where can I find more pace? And that's really where they started to put pedal to the metal. And then that also taught me to bring this whole new level to the track and bring this new pace and be on my A+ game every weekend. So I'm very glad. I mean, the rivalry, like I said, that Jared and I had was healthy, and it definitely we improved each other.
I mean that conversation happens often. You're only ever as good as the competition you're up against.
100%,
so if they're lifting the level all the time, you've got to do the same thing. And I think you touched on something nice there where you actually realize that, okay, I've actually got to bring a level now. I can't just get in and rely on pure talent alone. There has to be some sort of hard work involved in that. Now, you then go into the high school version of karting. You didn't spend a lot of time there before you started looking into main circuit. Now, main circuit in South Africa has always been one of 2 schools of thought. There's the open wheel version and then the tin top version. Now, career-wise, and this is my personal opinion, and you are welcome to correct me at any point, is single-seater, there are 21 seats available in the top echelon. 22, that's it. That's F1, there's 22 seats available, nothing else. The route you chose to take to go the tin top route, there are hundreds, if not thousands of seats available where you can actually earn out of them because it takes you into the GT realm.
Yeah.
So was that the consideration when you looked at that time was Formula 1600 or Polo Cup? So you had that on the table. You had 2 options to go. Budget was very much family forward. It was put forward by the family. So you had the budget to do either, but you made the decision to go tin top. Yeah,
it was a tricky tricky decision to make because there's a lot of sacrifice that comes with going single-seater route. We obviously know that's more expensive. Like you said, the slots available are much slimmer than GT side. And I think there was a bit of fortune that played into my hands. I was meant to go to 1600 and that fell apart. The team that I was going to go with basically liquidated, whatever the case may be. And I had this connection to Signature because I was quite close to Chris Shorter and Matt Shorter. They were racing for Signature at the time with Sean van der Linde and Etienne, Ronnie Erasmus and all of them. And that's, I think, played into my hands quite nicely. When the 1600 thing fell apart, Chris was like, well, why don't you just come test a Polo Cup car with Etienne?
Yeah.
Just see if you like it. If you like it, you go for it. And I always looked up to, obviously, the people I looked up to was Calvin, Sheldon, Jordan.
Yeah, they were the first to really make the career in
100%.
In that generation, yeah.
And they had the perfect, like, footsteps for me to follow.
Yeah, the
Polo
route.
Cup. Okay, they went, obviously, it was a bit different back then, Sirocco, whatever the case may be. But that's what sort of motivated my decision as well. And then I still remember mid-vol, sunny day, I had Etienne van der Linde in the car, and in the seat next to me in a Polo Cup car.
And the tractor, don't forget the tractor that was cutting the grass.
Yes, the tractor that was cutting the grass.
While you were on track.
The many potholes that you had to avoid,
yeah.
proper South African. I mean, so that was an experience. And as soon as I drove that car, I fell in love. And then I was just, again, the one man that I can definitely put majority of what I am today is Etienne.
Yeah.
Like dad's side, yes, family side, that's a different side on my dad sacrificing so much, my family just in general sacrificing so much. But if we're talking racing side, like primarily racing side, Etienne.
Yeah, just put you in the right direction, and that's the reason.
Yeah.
I mean, 2021, I think it was, that you climbed into a Polo Cup car in terms of doing your first full season.
Yes, full season, yeah.
So you jump in the Polo Cup car, 2021, first full season, and it's something that not a lot of drivers have done. I don't even think Calvin managed to do it in his first year, was to win the championship in your rookie season.
Yeah, I actually can't remember now if Calvin won it in his first season or not, but...
Don't think he did, but you were one to, I mean, as per the research I've done, you've taken the 2021 Polo Cup championship in your first season.
Yeah, so that was, I did 3 rounds in 2020 because I could only race from June or July.
Yeah, with the age thing.
With that age thing. And I mean, luckily for me, we had the lockdown in the beginning of the year. So I only missed out on, I think, 1 or 2 rounds. I got rookie of the year in 2020. And then I got my first win towards the end of 2020. And then I went into 2021 and I was like, okay, well, I've proven that I can win.
Yeah.
I just need to do that consistently.
Yeah.
I mean, that's always the goal. And then, 2021, we did so much prep. I mean, me and Etienne spent hours and hours at the track just getting laps under my belt in a Polo Cup car. So, yeah, I mean, winning that championship, that definitely came with its challenges. I mean, I was going up against Yuri. I was going up against Clinton and...
all season competitors in a front wheel drive car with a roof over your head. Yeah.
Guys that have experience like from 2016, I mean, from the Calvin and Sheldon van der Linde days and Jordan. So that was definitely something I had to... The hardest thing for me was actually believing that I could do it. So getting to a racetrack and being like, rather than having the mentality of,
these are the guys I got to beat. Yeah.
That's like Yuri who's raced against this, whatever. I was like, okay, I need to believe that I do have the ability to do it. And that was Etienne's always big philosophy around it, was you have to believe that you can do it to first do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was definitely special. And he taught me a lot. So
you touched on that, and I mean, I've taken the step away from being a team principal and running teams like I did in karting when you were racing. I've now gone and done the coaching side of things, which is where my focus has always been anyway, and my forte has always been that of a coach. So I've spent more time there, and the biggest problem that I've had with all the drivers that I've worked with, and I'm working at the European level now with Champions of the Future Academy and a few Rotax Euro events, is a lot of them get there, they have all the belief in the world to race locally, but they lack that belief when we get overseas because of the names that you're up against. So I think you touched on a really good point there. For young drivers out there, it's pointless doing this if you're not going to believe that you can be the one to win it, and you can. And you went ahead and did it, but you talk about a lot of time spent on track. Is this also where the simulator starts coming into it for you?
Yes, it's a big topic nowadays, and it's a big talk. I was actually listening to a podcast about with Max Verstappen and Gabriele Bortoleto.
Bortoleto, yeah.
Yeah, it was on
saying that
Fittipaldi's
karting,
one.
yes, that's
Yes,
saying karting
Fittipaldi's
doesn't
one.
matter.
Yeah, so the biggest thing is I to give context, Max basically said Fittipaldi threw him a question of if I had a year of karting, let's say I had to take a gap year, and I had a year of being a kart 365 days, or I had the sim, which one would you pick? And you have to pick one. And Max was the sim for sure. I mean, he says karting, I mean, it's a good building stone. And when you're young, you have to go through karting. I mean, you can't throw an 8-year-old into a Polo Cup car, obviously.
Yeah, true.
So the biggest thing for me is actually a good example. When I went to M2 Cup and we had the first round at Oschersleben, I went in there obviously just coming from locally winning, and this is actually bringing up your point again about going overseas and having the mindset that you can win.
Yeah.
I went there and I was like, okay, I'm actually quite confident I can do this. I had Etienne there for the first round at least at Oschersleben, and I said, okay, like he's like, you can do it. You got this. You've proven yourself at home. There's no reason why you can't prove yourself here. And I had a horrible weekend. First out of the box, horrible weekend. Penalties. It just, when nothing goes your way that weekend, you just feel like
you're kicking against this closed door. Yeah.
Yeah, you're like literally kicking the bucket on the weekend. And then we had a bit of chat with the team principal afterwards, and he was like, the guy who won that weekend, dominated that weekend, Denny Burnt. He was on the sim at the factory about a week going into the weekend, and I was like, I need to do that.
Yeah,
I need to do that.
That was a step I missed. Yeah,
exactly. That's something that I looked over completely. I did my sim work at home, but doing it with the team was a bit different. So the next round was Norrisring, and I went to the factory about a few days before. They stuck me on the sim in like a black room, like proper sim setup. And Project One was a DTM team at that point,
yes.
So they had a proper sim setup and everything. Engineers on the outside, obviously going through everything. And Norrisring's not a long track, but I did about 200 laps, just in about a sense of 3 hours.
That's not just. We'll come back to what we're talking about in terms of class and that, but that's not just 200 laps on your own at home and then looking over the data yourself. Like that's 200 laps with proper Motec data.
Yeah.
A track engineer going through the data with you. You're not hard enough on the pedal here. You're picking up the throttle too late there. Like that sort of sim level.
That was the biggest thing for an M2 Cup car. It still had the brake booster, brake pedal. So that was the trickiest thing for me to get used to. The weight of the car was also, 1.6 tons.
Yeah.
Polo Cup, I just came from a 1240.
Yeah.
So it was things that they knew, the knowledge that they knew that I didn't, and I thought I could figure out. Like I always have
in a split second, yeah.
In a split second at home, maybe, whatever the case may be, or the first time I get on track. But it wasn't. It was, I needed to be there. I needed to be told, listen, this is the way you got to drive it.
Yeah.
Go do another 50 laps, and I want you to
you're
get
not
into
taking
that
the weight
style.
off. You're not taking the weight off the car fast enough. You're
100%.
expecting the car to stop too quickly. That sort of, little tidbits that they know that you still needed to learn. But
So, I basically went from being 8th in the championship after Oschersleben to walking out of Norrisring 3rd in the championship.
I think you won. Did you get a win that weekend, or was it your first podium?
So Norrisring was first podium. I got P2 behind Bart Horston. I could have won race 1. Could have, would have, should have. But I could have won race 1 if I didn't get T-boned into turn 1. Norrisring, it's a typical thing that happens.
Yeah, that's super tight. First
corner, horrible thing.
I think Calvin van Linde almost won or lost his championship, and they had won at 1 year.
Yeah, that was definitely a very sensitive day for
him. That was well talked about for that weekend.
Yeah, so that's typical from Norrisring. But then after that, again, I made sure I kept that commitment. Went into Nürburgring, and I got my first win out of it. And then from that first win, I won 4 in a row straight after that.
But following that same formula, going to the factory, spending time on the sim, understanding the car, understanding the track, understanding 100%. The engineers. But also that's built, is it the same engineer that you would work with on track that was working with you in the sim?
So for M2 Cup, we had 3 engineers. We had Lewis, surname, I can't remember now. We had Mark Ortman, which was a GT4 driver at the time. And then we had David Kolkman, which was Porsche Cup driver at some point and in Deutschland and stuff like that. So very experienced guys. And the things that I learned in South Africa was something, but then going into Germany, the detail they go into is insane.
On that data trace is beyond.
It's insane. Yeah. I mean, the amount of data you get from that car compared to a Polo Cup car.
Yeah,
Polo Cup car, you
it's
get
night and day.
Throttle, brake, GPS speed. There you get spring loading, you get everything like that. Diff height opens and closes, and you're like, my word, it's a lot to process. Once you understand it,
steering input, pedal inputs,
it's
all the way through.
Insane. I mean, on the M2 Cup, like something that I didn't know until I went to the sim, and it was something massive for Norris Ring to maximize these small little things, because Norris Ring, you a tenth off, you eighth, whatever the case may be, is in M2 Cup you could pre-select the gears going into a corner, which I didn't think about.
Right.
So I go into a corner, I'm still flat. I downshift 3 times, I hit the brake, and
It goes
it'll do
down
it
those 3
like
gears.
as I'm going through. I'm like obviously decreasing speed. So that obviously then helped with engine braking. Braking in general was a big thing in that car, like I mentioned with the brake booster. So things like that.
So you can focus purely on the pedal as opposed to focus on pedal and
100%.
now selecting which gear.
And Norris Ring, bumps going into turn 1, so you're modulating like this,
Yeah,
which is very like iconic for that track. I've
As
never
the
had
car
it.
gets light, you have to actually come off the pedal brake again.
It's the only track besides maybe the Nordschleife that you have to do that, and it teaches you good things, obviously. But it's quite cool. I like the track.
So you did 2021 was your Polo Cup year. You did a bit of Super Cup in 22.
I did a full season.
A full season, and you won that in 22 as well.
Yeah.
So first season, full season Polo Cup win. First full season Super Polo win. Okay, check, no problems. But to get to that point where it was jump in and go, you didn't need the level that you had in Europe, because you would have been the only one in South Africa taking it to that level in terms of data, in terms of trace, in terms of sim, which has now started to eke into our championships locally. A lot more drivers spending more time in the sim. I mean, most Wednesday nights that you're not away, I see you on iRacing with us as well, just messing about with your
I'm
dad.
not stalling on the grid.
If you're not taking me out into a head or something because you just forget I was there and turn in. Like, there's no way Carl's still here. Oh, no, Carl was still there. But it's, a lot of people now using the sim world back at home to better their driving. So that's now become something that's happening in South Africa that we're working on. But you had your first experience that stepping into the M2 Cup. Now, for those who don't know, M2 Cup, I think no longer their new season will start, I think, next year. They are looking to reopen.
Yes, it'll be next year.
But your season was the last season that they were, before they went bang.
Yeah, so with the F87 modeled M2.
Yes.
That was the last season that they did, yeah.
So you arrive there, the deal with that is you pay up front for the season.
Yes.
As far as I understand.
Yeah.
One team runs all the cars.
Yeah, Project One.
Project One runs them all. You arrive there with however much it is. We don't have to talk figures, but it's throw money down and that's you. You're in. You go into every single race knowing that if I do not perform here, the price of my next year is going to be more.
Correct.
I'm assuming.
Yeah, that was
so. There's that added pressure of like, if I don't perform, not only is it costing my dad money to be here, it costing my family money for us to do this season. But every time I don't perform at my best, I cost my dad more the following season.
Yeah.
So explain that college scholarship program to those, because there are going to be, I'm hoping there are going to be kids that are listening to this that are very close to where they are making that break into main circuit.
Yeah.
Making that break into, I can build a career out of motorsport. How do I do it? So yours would be the route that the Calvin van Linde did, the Jordan Pepper did. It was at that stage Crocker Cup, but you did the M2 Cup.
Yeah.
So talk me through that scholarship, because it is a scholarship program, and how it works.
Yeah, so I mean, the easiest way to think about it is it's like a pyramid system. So win an M2 Cup, you get a free drive for GT4. Win GT4, you get a free drive in GT Masters, or at that time it was DTM, which I still wish was the case.
Yeah.
But it's something like I touched on earlier with the whole pressure thing. I mean, I don't want to sound like it's out of reach for anybody, and this pressure is like, it's horrible. You're going to have pressure anyway.
Yeah.
Whether
you've chosen the sport.
Exactly. Like you live and breathe it. Pressure is what comes with the package. Obviously, how you deal with it is very important. So I'll quickly touch on it. I've been seeing a sports psychologist for the past 7 years, since Minimax, since my first championship. And he's taught me the ways to do it. And a lot of people, when I say that, they go, so he deals with it really badly. No. I was actually quite alright with it.
Yeah,
I
just wanted the added edge helps.
Yes, I wanted to deal with it I needed to optimize the way I dealt with it. And yeah, so I mean, back to the question. The scholarship program it's something that you do think about during a season. I've been taught to try ignore it. So maybe it's not the best thing to think about, but it's in the back of your head.
Yeah, it's there all the time.
Exactly, it's going to be there. So when I did M2 Cup, I had a bit of margin going into the last round, but leading up to that, again, I went into, and I always sort of seek this feeling that I get is I went into Lausitz Ring and Saxon Ring. I won every race those weekends. So four races. I got
4 rounds. Yeah.
I think I got pole with Lausitz Ring, and I got P2 for quali in Saxon Ring. But regardless of that, I went into those rounds thinking, it's sort of a mindset that I've always gone into, and I've been taught is you're here now, you have to do it.
Yeah.
So you might as well do it.
Yeah.
So it's
you might as well do it as best as you can.
You might as well do it as best as you can. So rather than taking the pressure and feeling the pressure
and thinking of the future,
thinking about the future, just
think
get
about
into that car,
there,
get into that race, and ideally you just got to go win that race.
Yeah.
That's literally, you wake up next
race
morning.
Race by race.
And it's a tricky thing. You can't,
Look, it's going to be different for everybody. And I'm actually glad you brought up the sports psychologist thing, because it's something that I push quite hard.
Yeah.
With the drivers that I work with is, I'm just your coach. I can tell you how I dealt with it, but it's not one size fits all.
Everyone's wired
everybody is wired differently. Everybody deals with pressure differently. And I see it a lot. It's not in the times. A lot of people say, it's in the lap times. You see people fall off lap time wise. To me, I've never seen pressure in lap times. I've only ever seen pressure in racecraft. Making that wrong decision, putting your cart in the wrong place, or putting your car in the wrong place, or forcing a pass that didn't need to happen. But that is very much that pressure making the decision as opposed to the driver making the decision. You see it often.
Yeah. I actually have a funny story about this, and it's a good example. Listen, I wouldn't set the example as this is what you should do, but in the mindset I had it good. So VW Challenge 2021, regional event, obviously. Stian Creel, me and him were head to head,
and he's a hard competitor.
Yeah. So I mean, love the guy to bits. I mean, he off track, I respect him so much. Even on track, I mean, our battles were good, but he's very hard to race against. And I always had this thing where in karting, Robert Briggs used to call it the half-baked move.
Yeah, the half move. Yeah, it used to give me the same headache.
Yeah, exactly. So if you go for a move, you half-bake it, they go around your outside, you're not committed enough.
Yeah.
And I always had that problem in karting. I could never get rid of it. And then I went to main circuit, and Etienne was like, I'd rather have you put him in the wall. And I was like, damn. Okay. I was like, okay, it's not the right context to go about, but it's the right mindset to go through. So turn 6, me and Stian, I'm on his C-pillar basically behind his back wheel, and he starts closing the door into turn 6 at SWAT Corps. And it's quite an early turn in. I'm like, well, I'm here. I need to commit to it. Get on the curb, whack him straight into the wall. I go back to Etienne. I'm like, this is going to be so upset with me. I've basically thrown it away. I'm going to get a penalty for it. I tried to argue, but that took 10 minutes for me to realize, okay, it's my fault.
Yeah.
I came back. He shook my hand. He said, well done. He said,
open the door next time.
That's what you got to do.
Yeah.
But you're going to get a penalty for it. So
that's where that learning
curve.
Yeah.
You got to go further to realize where the line is and when to take that sort of judgment. And through that, I've still made my fair share of mistakes where I've gotten my penalties, but it taught me a lot.
You're not going to learn how to do it the right way if you haven't done it the wrong way.
Yes, exactly.
Which is what I keep saying it to my drivers that I work with. I'm like, rather go in and make the move and then try and fix it once you've made the decision already, than to half bake the decision.
Yeah.
It should be I've decided to do it. And Björn Roos will tell you this about me all the time. If Carl's decided he's passing you to that corner, it's going to happen whether you like it or not. You're either both going to be sitting at the tire wall or just let him go.
But it brings also this sort of demeanor over you, I want to say, or this atmosphere around you. So I made it clear, and this was also one of Etienne's biggest things he told me. Obviously, contextualized to commit to the move was make people, when they look in that mirror and they see you're going for that
element of fear.
They know that you're going to do that.
Yeah,
they're going to.
This guy's happy to crash. He's happy to crash. If I want to crash, I can have a crash with him or not.
I'm aiming for that B pillar, and if you turn in, then it's on you.
Yeah. 100%.
So bringing that, and that's actually something my dad always used to say. He said, when I went into GT4 especially, the grid is massive. GT4 was 26 cars, 28 cars. And I was like, I'm going to have to be, better than other, 2 cars per driver. So the other 50 drivers. Yeah. And he was like, why don't you just make people think you're a bit crazy? And I was like, okay, hold on. What do you mean by that?
The lift doesn't go all the way up.
Yeah. And then he was like, just make people think you're a bit crazy. If you're going to go for a move, it's going to be a crazy move and they're going to have to move out your way. And I did. Like, I went for moves in GT4 that I was like, I would never have thought of to do in Polo Cup. And he was just like, do it.
Go.
Just go for it. And then every time I did it, they knew if there was a blue and yellow GT4 BMW behind them. Okay, Leyton's
like,
in the car.
Open the door.
Yeah. I'm going to defend, but I'm not going to push the soak off the track because something's going to happen.
They're like, I know my limit. I can't be too hard. Well,
exactly.
And I've obviously kept that throughout and I had this conversation. I was at the grand finals recently. I just got back 2 days ago. And I was talking to one of the DD2 Masters drivers, Tankavicius, before he actually eventually won it.
Nice.
And they referred back to Pico and myself, and they're like, there's a couple of helmets on the grid that if you turn around, you see him coming, it's like, he's coming.
Yeah. Whether
you like it or not, whatever you want to do, that man's down your inside, and if you turn, you're going to go off. And it becomes very much the Ayrton Senna-esque type.
Yes.
But I think because we race in fields, like you were saying, of 30 cars in the grid, there's 25 cars, 2 drivers per car.
Yeah. And
you've made the move now. M2, you won it. You've made the move into GT4. You're now sharing a car with another driver.
Yeah.
That must be a whole nother element to deal with.
It comes with its challenges.
I can only imagine them being challenges. I can't imagine any like.
So, I mean, I've had 2 seasons of that now. GT4 with Max Rosam and then GT Masters with Tim Zimmerman, which was an honor, honestly. Like, Tim Zimmerman, I used to drive as in a Lamborghini in race room back in 2016. Now he's my teammate. It was crazy to think about, but it does come with the challenges. And it swings both ways like a pendulum. There's weekends where I didn't feel at my best and Tim had to push me. Yeah. And there's weekends where I was on my A game and maybe he wasn't. And I had to push him. But I think if you can learn how to pick that person up, and it comes with going through the data and being like, okay, Tim, actually, I think you can be a bit smoother going into this corner, like, because the BMW is a very smooth driving style. And he came from a Lambo, which was very aggressive. It was one of his weaknesses.
Yeah.
But you don't, rather than being like, oh, this guy, like, can't get it right.
Yeah. Help don't get there.
Help don't get there. I mean, it shows, it's going to sound cliche, but it teaches you teamwork. And at the end of the day, it teaches you not only how to work with the driver, but how to work with the engineer, for example.
Yeah.
And an engineer-driver relationship is extremely important.
Yeah.
Extremely important. And the prime example of that was my season now so I had a guy named Aika Roma, and he has so much experience. The guys he's worked with is insane, and he's next level. The guy you rock up, I never have a doubt about whether his setup change is going to work or not.
Yeah, it's going in the direction you've asked for.
If I say something, I'm like, I know it's going to be better. It's going to be fixed within a session, 2 runs or whatever the case may be.
So you have that confidence in it, yeah.
When I got to Red Bull Ring, Ike had the commitment. He had different commitments to Asia. He basically took, he sacrificed 1 round out of each series that he was doing, which is fair. And he had to go to Asia, and we had another guy, I'm not going to mention a name, but we had another engineer come in. And now it feels awkward because now you haven't worked with this engineer. Yeah. Your routine changes, run plans change, whatever the case may be. And our whole weekend was a mess, complete mess. I mean, we went from Salzburg Ring, getting first pole position for
and this
BMW.
is the GT Masters.
Yeah. First pole position for BMW in, I think, 4 or 5 years in GT Masters. Our car was on rails back then. I was going up against Ben Dua that weekend. We won that race, whatever the case may be. But we had a very successful weekend. Got to Red Bull Ring, qualified P5, and finished the race P11. Now, complete.
Like contrast. And that's just swapping one engineer out for another. And that's not even that's the driver's engineer.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I would say, okay, 50% we just didn't gel well with the engineer. It happens. But the thing is, swapping out that engineer, he didn't know the car well enough. So when we got to Hockenheim, we had Thursday practice, and I went back in the data to check what was happening at Red Bull Ring. Brake master cylinder was cracked in some sort of sense. So our brake bias was changing throughout the braking zone. And then our clutch plate blew on Thursday. And we're like, oh, let's go back in the data. We checked the clutch plate was opening by itself. So you're losing this and that. And
it even carries forward into the next event.
Exactly. So then we had to change, obviously, all of that stuff. And then, again, back to our normal routine. And Sunday we qualified P2. I was leading after my stint, obviously. And then, yeah. But back to the original question, having teammates, I mean, if you're going GT way, majority of the time you're going to have teammates.
Yeah.
Unless you're in DTM. That's only really single driver platform that you're going to get.
In the GT series, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. GT will challenge you either have 2 or 3. GT Masters, you have 2. Whatever the case may be, you're always going to have 2 or 3. And you're gonna run into drivers that have different driving styles, whatever the case may be. Learning to adapt to that is something else. And that's back where the sim comes into play. I used to grab the sim and I'd be like, okay, I'm driving with drivers that like understeer this weekend.
Yeah, let's set the car up to understeer.
I'm going to set the car up to understeer on iRacing, and I'm going to drive 30 laps, and I'm going to understand how I can optimize and drive that car better.
So, because this happens a lot in karting, and it's a conversation that I hate. Not just karting, even the guys that I've stepped into main circuit with, they want the car to be 100% right for them. Otherwise, they don't drive it. Yeah. And I've said this to a million drivers every single time I've spoken to them. Over my career, as long as it has been majority karting, I've never driven a kart that's right. It's never been 100% right. There's always been something that I am not happy with, or something that I can want to work on, or I can improve on. But the fastest and easiest way to improve it and make it better is just to learn how to drive it as optimized as possible. Yeah. To still get the same lap time out. Yes, I might be uncomfortable. Yes, I might get a little bit more tired. But I am 90% of the difference. So if I can drive it slightly differently and have everybody around me happy, car's going great, then that's a better option than to try and, let's put it plainly, bitch, moan and complain.
Yeah.
And sound like a spoiled brat because I want the car to go a certain direction.
I can't agree with you more. Like, when I was in karting, again, Arnold, Bjorn, Etienne, all of them and Robert, again, like Robert Briggs was obviously our sort of data analyst for the years I was in market.
A coach,
yeah.
He was my coach. He was the hardest coach I've ever had in my life.
Yeah, but I mean, I think Robert also taught me, he's like, if you want a perfect kart, then you're in the wrong. Like, if you want a perfect tool, you're in the wrong industry.
You're in the wrong industry, yeah.
Like, for sure. You're never going to have I don't think, I agree with you. I don't think I've ever had a perfect car, perfect kart. What I did, though, is with adapting my driving style, I made it perfect to that driving style.
Yes.
So, I mean,
your driving style suited the kart you got.
Exactly. It worked both ways. And the biggest thing is it's helped me now. I mean, I went from M2 Cup, which was a heavy car, understeered. It had okay traction, but it wasn't great. You had to take care of the tires so well. Again, taught me something good. But then at the end of that year, I did Kyle Army now in a Nova. And I was like, whoa. I was like, I went from 1,600 kilograms to half that weight.
Yes.
860.
With double the horsepower.
With basically, pretty much double the horsepower. And that took me by a swing. I mean, I still remember I got the offer from Rico Barlow, and I rocked up at the track at Kalani, flew in like just for the day. Did like a quick
superstar move.
Yeah. I rocked up. Hi guys, shake hands. Okay, you're in the car in 20 minutes. And I was like, damn. And yeah, I mean, I had Tristan Nobrega and them helping me out. Obviously, they were sort of like our data analysts for the weekend and stuff like that. And he was like, take your time, learn it, whatever the case may be. And I got into the car and we had Jonathan Thomas, which was with us. He was so he drove the Nova the whole year in France and stuff like that. And he set a lap. He went out, whatever the case may be. I think it was what times did they? 108 or something like that at Kalani. Did a 108, whatever the case may be. I was like, cool. I aim for 110. It'll be like a decent little baseline. Yeah, like let me warm up to it. 109 first session, whatever the case may be. And then I looked at the data and I said, okay, like, what do you guys suggest? And they were like, well, what are you feeling? I was like, oh, I don't know the car. I'm not going to tell you. I just took it around the track. I'm not going to tell you there's understeer, oversteer. I don't know the car. So, like, tell me what's the best to drive it. They're like, okay, aerodynamics, a lot of coasting. Just get off the brake and coast it in.
Yeah,
cool.
Use the mid-quarter roll.
Yeah, like, I went through, like, a nice 20-minute session with them. And then next session, 107.4. They're like prime. So I was like, okay, cool. Did laps, 107.4. Tried to find the consistency in the car. And then rocked up to Kailami, obviously knowing the track a little bit better, I would say, because I've done more laps at Kailami than what I have at Kalani. And yeah, I mean, that weekend got pole, whatever the case may be, won it, which was really great. The team was amazing to work with and stuff like that. But again, back to why I'm saying this is that's learning how to adapt that driving style, going that extra effort to go through the data, get suggestions from other people, and taking in that information and using it is very important. It's something that I'd suggest a lot of people practice and get.
You see, like, and you hit the net. Like, it's exactly what my argument is every single time I go out there. No matter what weekend you're having, be it good, bad, or ugly, you're adding to a library. And the way we go motorsport racing is we use a library of knowledge. And whatever happens throughout the weekend, you are adding to that library. So being closed off to the people around you that are there to, in inverted commas, because sometimes they're not really there to help you. They seem more of a hindrance than a help.
Yeah.
Take what you can from them regardless. Because no matter what people say to you, there's always something of use in what you do with someone, especially be it an engineer, be it a driver coach, be it a teammate in a GT car, because that's what you're dealing with now is sharing a car with someone else.
Yeah.
There's always something that you can take from that individual, whether they're good or bad. You can take something from what they said and use and add it to your library. And as long as you've got that library, you'll always be steadfast in whatever you're doing in terms of motorsport. But the biggest thing is a relationship with people, because I've watched so many kids, so many really talented drivers ruin any possibility of any career just because of A, arrogance, and B, just terrible attitude.
100%.
And you people that can't deal with you.
Yeah.
You know, and I did it to myself, 100%. 17, 16, I did it to myself. So hence why I give that little bit of tidbit from Commentators curse. Because it can be a curse, being having a bit of an attitude doesn't help, but that's why I got this gig. We move on to you going to GT Masters. We kind of skipped over your GT4 year, but vice champion in your first year in GT4. You move into the GT Masters. It was the obvious next step. But there must be a goal in mind for you in terms of a career, in terms of what you want to do as a motorsport driver. And what is that? Because it's a multitude. It could be Lamar, it could be DTM, it could be... But what is that end goal for you in terms of career-wise?
The best way to put it is getting paid for the work. Professional, basically.
Yeah, you want to be a professional.
Whether you're a factory driver signed with a brand, or whether you're getting paid to race for anyone, really. It doesn't need to...
Drive a lawnmower.
Yeah, exactly.
As long as there's a check at the beginning of the weekend.
If there's a check, then you're a happy man. So, I mean, that is sort of always the ideal. Being a factory driver is obviously the best of the best. So, I mean, all our boys are in BMW, which is quite nice.
Which helps you. I mean, that must be a help towards your career.
Yeah, I mean, biggest, like, just who to be thankful for. I mean, Colvin helped me here and there, but Jordan and Sheldon, massively. I mean, Jordan referenced me to now a manager recently. I can phone him, you know, I always message him. He always messages me like straight away. Yeah, let me help out. Let's have a chat. Let's call for 20 minutes, whatever the case may be. And Sheldon as well. When I got to so M2 Cup obviously was under, we were like the support race for DTM and GT4 basically on certain weekends. And I still remember going into Red Bull Ring, and I had to just finish, I think, P3 if Max won for me to win the championship. And Sheldon came to visit me at the hospitality, and he was just like, dude, you just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, just do
it. There's no championship
Yeah.
in mind. Just keep doing what you're doing. And the amount of support that I've received from specifically Sheldon and Jordan is insane. And I think also, obviously, Sheldon being in BMW and stuff like that helped me a lot this year, learning the GT3 car. The GT4 car was very similar driving style, but a GT3 with the aero and stuff like that, you have to adapt it a little bit. And again, if I picked up the phone to Sheldon, I was like, listen, I'm struggling to adapt to this car.
Yeah, this is what I'm hacking with. Yeah,
this is what I'm hacking with, which was the case in the first round that we had this year. And he was like, he sent us notes, me and Tim, because he's also quite close to Tim. And he sent us notes and he was like, this is what I do. This is what I don't do in this car. Try it. Let me know what happens.
Yeah.
It flipped like this for us. Completely flipped like that.
And that's such a nice thing, because a lot of people don't understand that from the outside. And I keep talking about it from the outside because I've lived the sport 30 years. You've lived it your whole life. There's a conversation that happens between drivers, be it competitors, be it friends, be it guys that have done it before, of how they do things differently depending on a car. And it really is, it's a conversation of, here I don't really lean on the front like I would there, or I don't get into the throttle as hard as I would there. And that kind of conversation goes between drivers. And that is such a helpful way to explain it between drivers, is because they seem to understand it. And it's very difficult to have that conversation with an engineer.
Yeah.
Because an engineer wants a result in terms of numbers. but he doesn't have a feeling to give you.
Yeah.
Whereas a driver goes, if the steering wheel's feeling light, you've done this wrong. Oh, the steering wheel's heavy, you've done that wrong. It's a feel that we have that an engineer doesn't have. But that's the one thing a sim doesn't seem to correlate as much as driving the real world car. I don't know if that's something that you've experienced, whereas you can kind of get the line right, you can get the understanding right, you can get the speed of the car right. But that feeling is missing.
Yeah, I mean, my dad always says you can get into a sim, you can do whatever the case may be, but if God didn't gift you with a good ass, then you're going to struggle in real life. And that's a true thing. Like, I think I've always been a good driver when in the sense of feedback. I would say feedback is one of my strongest points, which helps. But it's a weird sensation to sort of
explain it to the
label.
Yeah,
because you're like, what advice do I give to somebody that says have a better ass? Like, don't go do squats at the gym. It naturally just needs to happen. And I think, you know what it is actually, is I think everybody can get that feeling. It's just, again, digging further into the information of what this should feel like, what should that feel like.
Yeah.
So if we change, I don't know, roll bars on the car, and on a GT3 car, we have, I think, 12 different settings on each roll bar. And when we go half a click on the roll bar, your engineers go, how did that feel? And you're like,
and you turned it like 5 more.
Yeah. And you're like, dude,
it felt the same.
It felt the same. And there's actually a funny story, like again with RKT. Arnold, oh my word, that guy.
Yeah, but that guy, you can change anything on a car. He just gets it and drives it. Like, it doesn't matter.
No, not even that. When he was your engineer, he used to play the games with you.
Yeah, the hammer test.
Yeah. So he used to go, how's the car feeling? No, it feels horrible. So much understeer. He's like, cool, I'll change it, whatever the case may be. You go have lunch at freaking diner.
Oh, we do.
Come back. Yeah, come back. You're like, cool, go out. Dude, this feels amazing. Yeah, we changed nothing. Yeah. So, I mean, that's so.
I'm the worst. I do that all the time.
Yeah.
I'm like, sorry, guys. All of my drivers,
all the kids that's driving for
that have ever gone through it.
Sorry, lads.
So sorry. But I do that, and we call it a spacer problem. Like, you'll hear the mechanics all the time. Is standing on and it happens in Europe a lot. And you're standing on the mechanics stand, and they're all swearing and carrying on and going mad. And they're like swearing at their drivers. And you ask, like, so why did you struggle this weekend? No, we had a spacer problem. It's a space between the seat and the steering wheel. That didn't pitch up for the day. Yeah. And that's the problem we've had. But that is, and I mean, you obviously still love karting. It's something you've always had a passion for. You're past it at the moment, but I'm sure you will come back. And I've seen you come and do a shifter race just on the random.
Handed to me. Oh my word, that was so bad.
It's not a. Why do you think I don't just arrive and drive anymore? Like, if I get back into a kart, there's 3 months of work I do before I drive.
But talking about, sorry, just to butt in with extra effort. I mean, when I did that FK race, so at Formula K in the shifter kart, an awesome opportunity from Philip. I was really excited for it because I was like, cool, I can do this. I think I still have that feeling of a kart. I got there and I was like,
oops.
And Sebastian Diaz, like, I was looking at him throughout the whole weekend, and someone that I really like. I'm excited to see how he comes through the rankings as well. The extra effort that they've gone to put in.
Yeah.
And it actually made me realize, I mean, I had like 2 days of testing before that.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't get a feel of what's wrong with the kart. It's weird.
You just feel like you're hanging on for dear life.
Yeah, I feel like I'm hanging on for dear life rather than like, oh, like Philip, I think we can go softer with the axle and stuff like that. They've gone through all that effort and it's shown because, I mean, I was like, I'm giving it my 110%. And sure, okay, maybe I've lost 0.4, half a second just because I haven't been in a kart and I'm on shifter fit. It's like a whole thing.
Yeah, that's a whole thing.
But the consistency and the effort that, like Sebastian, I mean, there was many other karters there that weekend. But
him particularly being a 14-year-old, just his dad and him and his uncle and Tub
100%.
At the track together with a trailer, chasing basically what is factory teams.
Exactly, 100%. And that was very impressive for me. And I went to Seb after the weekend. I was like, dude, what you're doing is impressive. Just literally keep doing it. Like, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know what this formula you have.
But it's working. Stick to it.
Stick to it.
Well, he's now following the same route that you've done, that Jordan's done, that Calvin's done. That we're going to see a lot of more drivers doing it, which is the Polo Cup to Super Cup to whatever that feeder series is, whatever it may be, because that changes. It was Skaraka Cup for Van Linde. You can go back to Polo Cup, which it was for Kruger and Tasman.
Yeah.
So there's always been that one make series around the world that follows DTM and follows the ADAC that youngsters have used. Yeah. So if you are sitting at home and you're doing this Polo Cup route and you're looking at going the next step obviously for you would be doing the Super Cup. If you're there, your next step is then whatever that European one make series is. Now, your dream hasn't happened quite yet in terms of being a paid racing driver. Obviously it's the end of the season. There's going to be a lot of conversation for you as to what you're going to be doing next season.
Yeah.
I don't know how much information you can give us on what you're doing next season.
It'll be in a GT3.
It'll be in a GT3.
It'll be with BMW again, probably. We have had a few talks with managers and getting some advice from different people. The biggest thing is right now, to keep long story short, is we need to expose ourselves to pro drivers, basically.
Okay.
So in GT Masters, it's great. I can go win a championship. But the thing is, I'm not comparing to a Sheldon. I'm not comparing to a Jordan, a Calvin.
The paid drivers.
Exactly.
Yeah. The career drivers.
With GT World Challenge, you're going up against those guys. Sure, you might be in a silver car, which a silver car on platform compared to a pro car, there's about 3/10 in it. The guys on the pro cars, they weld different things. They all, manufacture bearings differently, whatever the case may be. It gives you like 3/10, whatever the case may be. But the thing is, you have to go there, and all you have to do is have one qualifying where it's a good quali and you out-qualify
a pro driver
in a BMW, and BMW go,
Okay. Yeah.
nice. Like I've had my meetings with BMW now, and that's what they want particularly out of it. And so yeah, that's basically
your step now.
Yeah.
So you're going World GT standards, and the idea is to go there as a silver driver and give pro drivers a hard time, which is what Jared did. I think more on the British side. I don't think he's done World GT Challenge. I could be wrong.
He did.
So he did the World GT Challenge.
He did sprint, yeah.
So he ended up, I think, also
he won the championship.
They won the championship in silver
championship.
Championship. So that's how you work out sort of each driver will have a license in terms of platinum, silver, gold. So that is your aim for next season. But you've done the route, you've done the work, you've done all the hard graft to get you there. You're sitting on the cusp of it. That's why I wanted you here first on Commentators Curse, because you will be. I can sit back 2 years' time and go, right, guys, I'm standing on the corner of in Portimao and I'm watching Leyton come past me in his GT3 car. But in terms of advice you can give any youngster on the route pushing through, what is the one fundamental thing you had throughout your career that you know nobody can do without? How's that for a tough question?
That is a tough question. I've been asked this question many times before, but it's always a tricky thing to say because you feel the weight of it. But I think I've finalized an answer which is good enough. I want to think at least. I hope. Find passion in the small things. Yeah. So I mean, we've been talking about it now the whole time and it's been under the hidden line the whole time is find the small things interesting and sort of seek the knowledge of the small things.
Yeah.
So going that extra way of like sitting on the sim, something I did was sit on the sim. I went through every single thing that you could change on a GT3 car. Like find the most complicated car to go to a Formula 1 car, stick it on the sim. You can change everything you can think of. And I went through every single thing. And I mean, on many sims, it gives you a description of what that does. And like camber, for example. So on an F1 car, let's say you're just running, I'm just going to pull an X number, is a negative 2.3 camber.
Yeah.
Right. So 2.5 degrees, call it. And what I used to do was I used to grab the front tires and I used to go like 4. Crazy.
Just to see,
4.
Like, what is this going to do?
What does it feel like? What does it do differently? Do the same with the rear, do it with third spring, weave springs, whatever the case may be. And like going out your way on the small things, finding passion in that, finding the interest in it, and then bringing it to the track. And when your engineer goes, it's always a question that when they ask me, I'm like, damn, is what would you like to do to the car?
Yeah, what would you like to change?
Some guys, I've worked with many, obviously, different GT4 drivers as well, because, I mean, in GT4, we had 4 cars, 8 drivers, and all different sort of levels. And some of the guys were like, well, I don't know, what do you suggest? And I was like, if you know the feeling of a car, you should know, I don't really tell my engineers what I think we should do. Like, I don't go anti-roll bar, for sure.
Yeah.
I go, if we go soft on the anti-roll bar, what do you think we'll do?
Yeah, what is the feeling I can get?
Because I know if we do go on the anti-roll bar, I know this is what the outcome might be.
Yeah, but you're kind of suggesting as opposed to being dominant about it.
Exactly. So
because you have that library of knowledge, because you've done the extra hard work.
The extra hard work.
So basically, you're saying the same as what every other driver coach in the world will say is hard work beats talent all day, every day.
I agree.
And you've seen it with Max.
Yes.
Max is in amongst the top 20 drivers in the world, but he goes and takes the next step forward. He goes and puts the extra work in. He goes and puts the extra effort in. And then he goes to Nordschleife and makes GT3 drivers feel like they need to retire.
Yes.
Just simply because he put in more work than they did.
It's insane. Yeah.
And
So
I think that rounds up what I think you were trying to get to is do the work, enjoy doing the work, and bank the knowledge from it.
100%. Yeah, it is.
Well, ladies and gents, that was our first ever conversation here on Commentators Curse. I don't think I could have picked a better guest, being Leyton Fourie. Leyton, you're on to the GT World Challenge next season. We're wishing you all the best.
Thank you.
And hopefully through your season, if you are back in the country, make a pop through to our studio and let's see how you're going.
No, I'd love to be back on this for sure. So thank you. It's been an honor and it's been great to talk. So thanks, Carl.
Fantastic, guys. That was Commentators Curse and Leyton Fourie.